But what's up, guys? Welcome back to Ruling on the Floor, episode 2. A lot of big things happening this week. Obviously, some things going on with COVID protocol. We're going to get to that, Alex. Some records being broken. A lot of big games happening. So we're going to be covering a lot of things today. Going to be a fun one, Alex. You got anything to say before we get started?
Yeah, the biggest record this week obviously was Anthony Edwards breaking the youngest guy to make 10 3-pointers in a game. That's huge.
Yeah, that was a huge
Congratulations.
record. Congratulations to Anthony Edwards. He just was so amazing. Probably I can't really think of any other big records that were broken this week. But yeah, Anthony Edwards played great. But yeah, getting into the first topic that I wanted to discuss today before we celebrate the greatest shooter of all time. Zion Williamson, a lot of news coming in this past week about him. Obviously, they completely shut him down from basketball activity, Alex, due to his foot surgery. They're saying that he's been having some kind of problems after the surgery that they thought he wasn't going to experience. So there's been a lot of setbacks for him. And they actually just announced that he just got a shot for the injury to see if it could hopefully help him come back a little bit sooner. You have anything to say about Zion? Should the Pelicans be concerned about it?
Oh yeah, I mean Zion Williamson. Ever since his days at Duke, even before that, they thought his weight would be a problem, and then now, yeah, it's his first year was marred with that injury, and then with his knee, and then his second injury, he was healthy. We saw a really good season from him, but then
Amazing.
this year it's been terrible. It was like he'll come back early in the season, and then no, and then now it's another 4 to 6 weeks. So I mean, like I'm not gonna say like it's the weight 100% that's affecting him, but yeah, like Zion, like he relies heavily on his body to score, to like bang in the post and like get.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's crazy that somebody at that size can be that athletic and run that fast, jump that high. So I mean, obviously, like the Pelicans medical staff has always been pretty sketchy with all the things that they've handled, but yeah, I mean they got to take it slow. There's no way that they can rush him into it, because I mean, like KD had like the same injury, I believe, back in Oklahoma, and he actually had to sit out pretty much the whole year for that. So I really like Zion. Like I said, back in Duke, even before in his high school days, I really liked him. I love his style of play. But it's gonna be hard to like cheer for a man that's always injured. It's crazy. Like I was thinking last year, like is it too early to say John Morant is better than Zion? And now it's pretty much a clear cut. Like it's pretty insane that he's already dealing with this many. He's already missed more games than he's played. So it's insane, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Zion is a generational type of talent from what we see, just raw athleticism, and we've seen him even bully Giannis and LeBron just by how big he is. And it's like you can't really say that about any other player, especially how young he is and what he done. You look like last year, he averaged 27 points per game, was a clear cut best player on his team, even playing alongside Brandon Ingram. He's just a confidence booster for the team. He brings so much to the floor. It's tough to say. It's hard to see young talent have to go through injuries like this. I don't know. Like you said before, they shouldn't rush him back. They shouldn't try to build things off. Obviously, you don't want to have to risk possibly having to shut him down for the rest of the season, because it's like, damn, he really has to miss a whole nother season. And at this point in time, if they do that, the Pelicans aren't really missing much. They're already a really bad team right now in the West. They're not. I don't see them making the playoffs. Even if Zion comes back, it's tough to say that we can even see them making the playoffs if he comes back in about a month. So it depends just where you see where he is. Maybe if you do decide to bring him back, just giving him like a good 15, 20 minutes a game just to keep him in shape. I mean, there's no need of rushing him and giving him 35, 40 minutes a game and risking anything else happening to him, because you obviously want to hopefully make a run next season when he's fully healthy and you can maybe make some moves in free agency, possible trades. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, so because I was gonna say his rookie extension deal is this offseason, so it's a really weird situation. A lot of people are saying rumors Zion wants out, like he's not happy there. Of course, he gives the politically correct answer, like, yeah, I love it here, I don't want to leave. But I mean, what if he's purposely like making it a hard decision for them to get that extension to him? Because I mean, like I said, when healthy, I'd love him to have him on my team. Give him as much money as he can get.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, if yeah, I'm not suggesting anything, but he might. It's a possibility. People have said that he's trying to like milk out this injury so that the Pelicans are reluctant to give him that max contract extension.
Man, that would be crazy if that was the case. And like you said, all these players say, "Oh yeah, no, I don't want to leave." Blah blah blah. It's all obviously an act. They're not going to really straight up say, "Yeah, I don't want to be here in New Orleans." Outside of Ben Simmons with everything going on, and we obviously heard him say that already. But that's obviously, like you said, the right answer to give to the media, to the fans. You're not going to be just bashing the
I want to
organization, but
leave.
I want out. I want out now. But yeah, like you said, Zion is ultimately, from what we've seen from his skill, from his talent, he's a max contract player, and there's no question about that. But when you come to look at injuries, it's like, damn, do we really want to give him this kind of max contract? So we don't know what's going to really happen for his future in New Orleans. There's been a bunch of teams that could use a player like Zion that would be willing to even pay a player like Zion a max contract just to even have him. And there's been talks about possibly him playing in New York, playing with the Knicks, and that would be a pretty awesome thing. The Knicks haven't gotten anyone big like Zion since. I
Julius
mean,
Randle.
I mean, I can't even think. I mean, the Knicks just don't. I mean,
Carmelo
since
Anthony.
Carmelo Anthony, since he's been there, they haven't really gotten someone as big as that. And even then, we didn't see Carmelo Anthony obviously bring so much to the Knicks outside of a few decent playoff games. But we know how good Zion can be. We know that he's a talent that could possibly be huge for leading a team in the future. If he was fully healthy, we'd be putting him in the argument with the Lucas, the Trays, the Tatums. We'd be having him in that argument just based of how good he is, and we know that. But it could be one. Maybe this injury is really just more than what it seems, and he's really hurt, and he just can't play through it. Or like you said, it could be that he's milking this injury out. He really does not want to be in New Orleans, and then we'll see some big things happening, big changes happening in the offseason for New Orleans. So we
Yeah,
can just kind of debate on that.
especially it's crazy. New Orleans has some horrible luck. I mean, now it's Zion. Before that was Anthony Davis. He's like, yeah, I want to stay here, and he was requesting sitting
Exactly.
out for a trade. And then before that, Chris Paul. I mean, he got traded, but I mean, I don't think he wanted to be there anyway. So, but yeah, I
Exactly.
mean, yeah, the Pelicans need to get some kind of winning culture. I mean, they got a lot of young guys. But yeah, maybe we mentioned this before. They have a good amount of talent at guards, at bigs. They got Valanciunas and all that. But
Brandon Ingram, Devontae Graham. Yep.
yeah, but the fact that they can't really like build anything on that is pretty disappointing, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the roster that they have, and like you said, they do have talent. And if you add Zion to this roster, I feel like they could be a real contending shot for the playoffs. I thought they were pretty disappointing last year. Obviously, they had Lonzo. They didn't really have some like amazing big, like actual bigs. Now they have Jonas. I think Jonas is a very underrated center in this league. He can do so much for your team, spacing the floor, rebounding. Not the best
Draft.
defender, yeah, but not the best defender, but he's such a big body that his presence in the paint is still scary to have to go up against. And I think you look at Ingram, Devontae Graham, Jonas, adding Zion to that mix with the few solid young players that they have coming off the bench, they would have really been competing for a lower seed in the West and possibly being able to see these guys in the playoffs. But like we said, they're without Zion, that's not going to happen. They're just not that good of a team. They need the Zion. They need what he brings to the floor, and without that, they're not going to really be able to do much. So, like you said, it'd be nice to really see them have a winning culture. They haven't really been doing much since Anthony Davis, and even when they had Anthony Davis, they weren't obviously any kind of legit contender going up against some of the best teams in the West past when Anthony Davis was playing for the team.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna have to be some kind of big change. I don't know if it's in the front office, but I mean, yeah, they got like we said, they got the talent. We'll see what they could do.
Yeah, it just depends on what they decide. Okay, maybe we just separate ways with Zion and move to something different, or if they feel like, okay, maybe like you said, it's actually an injury that's hurting, and then we want to hopefully let him play a few games towards the end of the season, get his stamina up, get him on a better meal plan or whatever it needs to be. Again, he needs to get on that LeBron James, Russell Wilson kind of meal plan, paying $1 million a year to get a professional chef. If that's what it takes, do it. He's just too good to not being on the court. But simple as that. But let's move on to before we go into the our MVP conversation so far this year. We're about 30 games into the season almost. Let's congratulate the already there was no question about undisputed best shooter in NBA history, a record that there's a possible chance we might not even see being broken in the next 20 plus years. Steph Curry finally passing Ray Allen on the all-time three-point shooting list.
Congratulations, Steph. Moving on.
Man, it's a huge accomplishment, and like you said, many people have said this is a kind of accomplishment and record that you can we really see anybody beating that record anytime soon?
I think okay, like I know you're not gonna like this, but yeah,
Don't say
obviously.
Trae Young.
Okay, so Curry has had a few.
Don't say Trae Young.
Curry has had a few years filled with injuries where he didn't play, and obviously the game has evolved. Earlier when he was playing, he kind of revolutionized it so that you could take 12 threes a game and not get benched. So yeah, I mean it's hard to say, but Trae Young, he's already having a better first 3-4 years than Curry had statistically. Everything, you can't lie. Look at the numbers.
It's only statistically and actual playing is a much different scenario.
We're talking about the record.
When Steph Curry came into the league, he obviously wasn't coming in saying, okay, Steph Curry, you're going to actually be the best player on our team. You're going to lead this team when he first came into the league. He came into the league and he did everything that he was supposed to do when he first came into the league. When he came into the league, like you said, he's the one who revolutionized the game. So when he came into the league, he wasn't about to come in and just start shooting 10 3-pointers a game. That wasn't it. But when he first came into the league, the man averaged 17 points per game and was shooting very high percentages. Obviously, like you said, he wasn't at Trae's level. Trae, I know the stats are a little bit more on Trae's side going into his career, but Trae Young has been given that openness to be able to, okay, Trae Young pretty much said, this is your team now. In his second year playing for the Hawks, hasn't had any kind of injuries like Steph went through in the beginning of the season. But to say that, oh, Trae Young has a possibility of beating this record is pretty ridiculous. Trae Young hasn't even been able to make 300 3-pointers in one season yet since he's been in the league, and he's been chucking up a lot of threes since he's been in the league. His three-point percentage is nowhere near what Steph Curry's three-point percentage, even at the beginning of Steph Curry's career. Steph Curry is so able to have this record at such a high pace because of how consistent and efficient that he shoots that ball from three.
Okay, yeah, I'm not saying, obviously, I believe Curry is a better shooter. I want him on my team 7 days out of a week over Trae Young. But I'm just saying the volume that Trae Young has able to had since the beginning of his career, and especially if he doesn't have any injuries and he can play for 15, 16 years, whatever, he's going to eclipse it eventually. Like, it's just going to happen. I'm not saying he's a better shooter at all. But the fact that he's going to have all this opportunity and volume, especially if he's always going to be the best player in his team, and even that the pace of the game is even getting more three-point oriented. So, yeah, I think he will, in 12 years, maybe break it. We'll be seeing that.
I mean, yeah, like you said, pace of the game and being able having the usage to be able to do something doesn't go into, okay, can you make 2,900 threes? Because Steph Curry there's a good chance that we're going to see Steph Curry make 4,000 threes in his career.
No.
He's about to hit 3,000 threes this year. You're telling me so you look at Steph Curry, we say maybe, okay, give maybe 3, maybe 4 years of this level of play that he's on right now. He's actually scheduled to be expected to beat his three-point record of 400 made threes in 2015, 2016. He's actually expected to beat that, and while playing another 3-4 years of the level that he's playing at now, and then say maybe like another 3 or 4 years after that, he could play like a Ray Allen role, what he was doing with the Miami Heat, and he's way better than Ray Allen. So it's inevitable that he gets to 4,000 3-pointers. I don't see Trae Young. Trae Young is great. Trae Young is a good shooter, but he's not a great shooter. Trae Young is just a little too small. I don't see him ever being as efficient as Steph Curry as Steph Curry is in his career, and efficiency plays a huge role of why Steph Curry is able to shoot so well and have as many threes that he has.
So Trae Young is entering his 4th year into the NBA. Is this his 4th year, right?
Yes,
I believe. Yeah. So you're not saying he has no chance of getting better? Like this is
no,
what we're gonna see.
I expect him to get better, but how tall is Trae Young, Alex?
He's like 6 feet.
He's like 6 feet. He once again is not the most efficient player. I feel like efficiency right now is his best year. Right now, Trae Young is shooting 46% from the field. This is his best career shooting from the field and we're only 30 games into the season. So that could go down, that could go up. His best shooting career from three is this year, shooting 38%. And I see that I could see him maybe touching 40%. I'll never see him eclipse 42% unless he really just becomes Steph Curry and starts getting that 3-point shot up. I don't think that's going to happen, but Trae Young, his percentages aren't just going to be able to match up to Steph Curry's, and that's why I don't think he'd ever be able to break the record. Can there be another Steph Curry in our lifetime? Who knows? Possibly. It's probably not going to happen, but I don't see anybody breaking this record anytime soon. It's not impossible, but it's one of those records that's up there that we could really possibly say, yeah, this is never going to be broken.
By 2034, we'll revisit this conversation when Trae Young passes Curry.
Oh yeah, well, he's never gonna pass Curry. I promise. Trae Young, if anybody, it's not gonna be Trae Young. I'm telling you that right now. It won't be, and that's everybody's pick, and rightfully so. His play style and his ability to shoot the 3-point. I mean, he's taking what? He's taking about how many 3-point attempts? His most 3-point attempts per game were 9.5 in his second year. He took 9.5 3-points per game, and he was shooting 36%.
And didn't he average like 29 points a game that year?
That was the year he averaged 29 points per game. Yes.
Okay, whatever.
But he shot 36%. You have to shoot. Steph Curry's best shooting percentage. He's a career 43% 3-point shooter, Alex.
I'm not saying he's a better shooter.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. The percentage and being efficient plays into the role of being able to make as many threes as he can. Trae Young can't even make more threes than Buddy Hield in a single season. What makes you think he's going to be making enough to be able to pass Steph Curry in his career?
Buddy Hield is like a 3-point specialist. That's like literally all he does.
Buddy Hield has been like.
But he's not an all-star.
In the last 2-3 years, Buddy Hield has been like second or third in most 3-pointers made in the season. Trae Young hasn't even been top 5, I believe, in most 3-pointers made in the season. That you can't say that he's going to be able to do that if he can't even be the second most 3-pointers in a season. We will, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't even think he could maybe get to what Steph Curry's at right now and maybe pass Ray Allen, but he's not going to pass Steph Curry by what Steph Curry will get by the end of the season.
Well, I know one thing for sure. He'll pass Curry in all-time points, definitely.
Possibly. He's came into the league with a much higher. He came into the league with a much higher usage, but like we said, Steph Curry's had 2 seasons where he missed the whole 2 full seasons. Trae Young has yet to have a season kind of injury that kept him out, and I pray that never happens to him. I want to see his talent play consistently for the rest of his career. Is it going to be a longevity kind of career? Possibly. I don't know. He's a little small to be able to play for 15 seasons and be at the level that he is.
But you're a Curry fan, isn't that Curry's whole thing? You literally have a shirt that says too small, not strong enough, and then
Steph Curry is 6'3" and much stronger than Trae Young. Trae Young is probably hitting at 5'11" for his height. That it's much different. Much different. 5'11" to 6. I'm 5'11". Steph Curry can dunk. Trae Young can probably barely touch rim. So
what's your excuse for not being able to, whatever, moving on.
It's gonna be a lot different, but he's not gonna catch it. I'm sorry.
Moving on.
Move on to the main topic. The main topic. The MVP conversation. And I know who you probably have as a front runner. But let's hear it. What do you have on the MVP conversation so far this year?
I got Mr. Kevin Durant from the Brooklyn Nets having an amazing season. It's easy to forget that he ruptured Achilles with the Warriors a few years ago. He averaging 29.6 points, 5.8 assists, 7.8 rebounds, and on insane efficiency, 52%, and then 37.5% from three-pointer. And like I said, he didn't even have Kyrie, and James Harden has been kind of spotty this year. And they have the best record in the East. That's enough grounds for me to give him MVP over who you're about to say.
Okay, well, I don't. At first, Steph Curry was the clear-cut front runner for the MVP, and he still is in that vicinity, in that bubble, for being the clear-cut MVP favorite. He has been on a very bad shooting slump, quite possibly his worst shooting slump of his career. And we're considering him to be top of the MVP conversation. It's pretty insane. And we're going to see him unleash what we know that he can do in this season. It's just a matter of time when it's going to happen, but watch out when it does happen. And we're probably about a good 2 weeks away from Klay Thompson's return. Is only going to make it easier for him. That being said, I'm not going to argue against KD, but I will have some arguments about why I believe KD is not just a legit front runner. KD is having an astronomical, amazing season right now, averaging 29, 7, and 5, shooting an efficient 52% from the field. He's just unstoppable. And like you said, top of the East. But this is where I look at it. It's okay. He's at the top of the East, but who's the best team that he's beaten this year? It's the Atlanta Hawks. They're 14 and 14. That is the best team that Kevin Durant and the Nets have beaten this year. The Atlanta Hawks and the Mavs, who I don't even think have a winning record this year. So I'm looking at all the best teams in the league that the Nets have played. The Heat, the Warriors, the Suns, the Bulls. They've lost all those games. So, and like you said, obviously Harden hasn't been living up to his what we've seen from his past, but he's still an outstanding facilitator. He's still a guy that you can't just be like, oh, James Harden's not doing good. I don't have to worry about him playing good or anything like that. He still has to do a lot of things. But going forward, KD is playing stat-wise like one of the best top 2 players in the league. Like I said, I have him and Curry as the top 2 players in this NBA, but I couldn't say there's a legit front runner for the MVP award right now, considering Steph Curry's slump and the Nets' ability to beat any good team so far going into the season.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, the teams over 500, the top teams that haven't been able to beat them most of the times, but I think that will come sooner or later. They obviously have a lot of new players, and the whole role is just so different. I mean, like taking account, they beat the Toronto Raptors a few days ago, 131-129, with 8 active players. Like that's crazy. KD carried them. That was just.
I wouldn't say KD carried them. Patty Mills had a very amazing game.
He had, yeah. Oh, so he's not allowed to have help from when you have 8 players?
Yeah, Patty Mills had 28 points. Don't say he carried the game. And Patty Mills had 28 points, and KD shot 12 for 29. That's not what KD normally does. So obviously, if Patty Mills didn't have 29 points, they would have lost that game.
Yeah, but still, I mean, like,
simple as that.
Yeah, KD had what was it, 34 or whatever? I mean, I still think he's the reason that they won that game. Yeah,
34 on 29 shots.
When you have 8 active players and you're playing pretty much the whole game, you're not gonna be the most efficient guy in the world. I'm sorry. Like,
he could still be very efficient. I mean, Steph Curry was not playing with the best talent last year, and he shot 48% from the field and averaged 32 points per game.
Yeah, but you had a full roster.
I'm not taking it away. Like I said, KD's playing great, playing outstanding, but we're not going to act like, okay, yeah, he has been carrying the Nets this year. There's no doubt about that. He has been carrying the Nets this year. Harden hasn't been up to speed, but Patty Mills has been playing great, even picking up LaMarcus Aldridge and getting him back. He's been playing well. But these role players that they have, Claxton, Joe Harris is out, and some of these other guys that they haven't really been consistently good. Do I expect them to be better? Possibly, they'll be better, but I can't put KD as a front runner. I can put him as a top player in this league, which I do have him. Any argument between him and Steph, but he's not a front runner. I don't even think anybody's a front runner. I think there's a good 3-way tie because I have to throw Giannis into that mix. He's playing outstanding, 27, 11, and 5. It's just the voters' fatigue is not really on his side after winning a back-to-back MVP. And right now, COVID protocol, he's out. That's tough break for the Bucks. And even then, you look at Jokic doing better than what he even did last year. 26, 13, and 7. He's shooting 58% from the field. But I'm going to give him that same energy that everybody gave Steph Curry last year. He doesn't have the record. Blah, blah, blah. Right now, the Nuggets are sitting right at 500. Without the guys that they have, it's hard to say if they're even going to make the playoffs this year. They definitely will battle for, like I said, the play-in 7th, 8th seed. Can they make a 6th seed? I wouldn't say that, but I'm gonna give Jokic that same energy everybody gave Curry last year after the amazing season Curry had. That
so
I can't put him in the
Michael
top
Porter,
MVP.
Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray is the equivalent of one Klay Thompson.
I'm taking Klay Thompson over both of them. Yes, until I can see Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. do anything compared to what we've seen Klay Thompson do in the playoff run. What was Klay Thompson doing in that last game before he got hurt, Alex?
No, he was
What
good.
was he
I'm not
doing?
saying
What was
Klay
he
Thompson
doing?
is garbage. He was
Game
going off.
6, 2016, Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah,
What was he doing?
Saving Curry's
Jamal
ass.
Murray
That's what
has
he was.
yet to. Oh, Game 7. What did Curry do, Alex? If he was saving Curry's ass, what did Curry do to
Yeah.
KD and Westbrook in Game 7?
What was the last time we
Okay,
saw
it
Jamal
has
Murray?
no point.
What happened last time we saw Jamal Murray on the court?
It was the bubble, and they lost. They lost, got blown out by the
They
Lakers.
beat the Clippers.
Jamal Murray is great,
He's
but
dropping
he
like
is
40s and 50s.
he's no Klay Thompson. I'm not gonna go in and sit here and act like, oh, I can trust Jamal Murray over Klay Thompson. No, stop it. Jamal Murray's a great player and I respect his game, but we're not gonna sit here and act like Klay Thompson is not more trustful going into the league than Jamal Murray is. That's not the case.
Hasn't played in 2 years, but
Michael Porter Jr. wasn't even that great. And like everybody's saying, oh, Klay Thompson has but KD comes back from his Achilles injury, and we're looking at what he's doing this year. What is KD doing this year after tearing his Achilles? I understand. Yes, Klay Thompson is a player that we haven't seen play in so long, and it's tough to say that. But are we really going to act like Klay Thompson is a guy that is consistently, his game is based off of his athleticism?
His defense is definitely is, yeah.
Okay, but his defense is obviously, yeah, he's going to have to probably work on blocking some shots, having some tough dunks and stuff that he does make, and his side-to-side movement, and that's stuff that I expect to develop as the year goes on. I don't expect him to just be the all defensive player that he once was, but how good our defense is, we don't need him to be at that level just yet. But Klay Thompson is, in my opinion, the second best shooter we've ever seen, and once he comes back, all we need him to do to start off is hit your three-point shots, and that's what Klay Thompson can do. Make it easier for Steph Curry. That's what Klay Thompson can do, because you can't double and triple team Steph Curry when Klay Thompson's on the court. I'll tell you that right now. It's not going to happen. If you want, that man tore his Achilles, we don't have to worry about Klay Thompson. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But that's my take on the MVP conversation.
No, I mean, we'll see definitely when Klay comes back, because I really hope he is good. Like, I was like blown away with some of the games he had when he saved Curry and in the playoffs a few times. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think he'll have the same with both of those injuries that he sustained. But yeah, going back to the MVP conversation, yeah, I mean, Curry's having a great year. I think he's my second place, but he's a clear second. He's not like close to first at all. He's having
close. He's not close to first at all with the best record in the league, averaging 27 points per game. Not close to first. He was they just did a poll at all the NBA executives of who the number one MVP front runner was. It was Steph Curry.
Okay.
90 first place votes, like Kevin Durant's like 5. Not close at all. I'd beg to differ.
Okay, so you're gonna tell me like, oh yeah, the Nets don't beat anybody good, right? Obviously, the Warriors have a better record. They've beaten more teams. But yeah, the biggest hype game was the first game versus the Suns. And what did Curry do? Let's take a look. 4 for 21 from the field for 12 points and a loss. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just completely crapping the bed. Like, that is not showing up at all. Like, I have to give him a ticket off of that.
All right, let's pull up Kevin Durant's stats against the Warriors, Alex. Against a 18-point blowout, which Steph Curry had 37 points. And on the podcast, you said, I got Kevin Durant having a big game and beating the Golden State Warriors. What did Kevin Durant do, Alex? 6 for 19, didn't even score 20 points. Steph Curry was shooting threes while they were both on the bench for the rest of the fourth quarter. That's a little bit disturbing. He went into Kevin Durant's house and put them to sleep. That's what Steph Curry did.
He did.
In the battle for the two best players considerably in the NBA, Steph Curry came out on top and dropped 37 points on his head. Okay, guys are gonna have bad games. Just because he had a bad game against the Suns, he's had multiple bad games and he's been in a slump. And like I said, and that's why I said I can't say, currently right now Steph Curry isn't the complete front runner, but don't act like he's not close to first just because he had a bad game against the Suns. They have the best record in the NBA. Stop it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, the game where I thought he was gonna like just show out and prove that they were the best team in the league, they lost, and he was the main reason. He was terrible. Mikal Bridges locked him up. It was not even like a debate. So
he did not clamp him up. People need to stop with the whole guys have been locking him up. Matisse Thybulle, I think I saw did the best job because he legit was not giving Curry any kind of space. But in these last like 8 games, I'm seeing shots Steph Curry takes, even wide open shots, wide open floaters. They're just in the last game against we just beat the Knicks, I believe. He had a floater that was wide open and he hit all backboard. I was what the heck was that? I'd never seen wide open floater from Steph Curry. The man hit all backboard. I'm like, yeah, Steph Curry needs to you need to get your stuff together. He's playing at a very high level, and his inconsistency is just like I said. We've never seen this in his career, but this is not the same Steph Curry that we've seen in the past. His shots are just not falling that we normally see fall. I think it's more of him just missing a lot of shots versus actual defense outside of how great Matisse Thybulle played, because Matisse Thybulle was really on his ass that whole game.
And like I said, yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to continue this stretch of horrible play, but yeah, I mean, 8 of the last 10 games he's been under 50%, with the worst being against the Suns. So that's the main reason why I am really down on him right now.
Okay, well, I have no kind of scare in my blood that Steph Curry won't show out against the Phoenix Suns in a 7-game series if it comes down to it. We know their history with him and Chris Paul, and I think Steph Curry will be the one to come out on top in that regard. But with Giannis and Jokic, where do you have them two with this MVP conversation? Or do you even have any other possible players that you can maybe throw in there?
No, I definitely think those are the next two. Like you said with Giannis, when it's with Middleton and Drew Holiday, they've only lost one time in like 13 games, which is really good. And he has the stats to put it up. But like I said before the season started on the podcast, he had to do something crazy or else the voters would not do it. Like, so I thought something like 32 and 15 or whatever. His assist is really good. Like, his playmaking is outstanding because obviously the defenses are clamping down on him.
Exactly.
He's able to find Pat Connaughton. He's able to find Grayson Allen on the wing. So I think like I said, I think he's the best player in basketball. But yeah, his MVP case, he has to do something.
Not the best player in basketball.
His MVP's case, he's had to do something like really crazy for him to win it, because I mean, he's already won it 2 times in the last 3 years. So, and yeah, and Jokic is just like, I saw something. His advanced stats when he's on the court, they're plus 14. With him out, they're minus 16. So it's just like he's so valuable to that team and everything they do. Obviously, with all the injuries they have, he has to do more than what he normally has to. So yeah, I think Jokic he's not going to win it unless he like gets first place, because he won it last year. People were saying it was a fluke. He won it last year too. So yeah, those are the next 2 guys.
I wouldn't say people were saying it was a fluke. I mean, I think Jokic earned every right to win that.
He earned it, but people were saying like by default he got it, like because of the other things.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think he deserved it. Do I think Steph Curry deserved it as well? Yes, I do. And like I think people say the record thing, but I think Steph Curry, the Warriors were absolutely the worst team in the NBA if Steph Curry isn't on that team. And we can almost say the same with the Nuggets, but the Nuggets had Jamal Murray, and before he got injured, and Michael Porter Jr. left. If Jokic were to miss a few games, and I think they could still squeeze out a bunch of wins. The Warriors couldn't even beat teams like the Rockets, like some of the worst teams in the league. They couldn't even beat when it came to Steph Curry missing games. And I thought that Steph Curry definitely deserved it, but I was not mad. I expected Jokic to win that MVP that year. Simple as that. But I wouldn't say there was times where we should say that he wasn't deserving of that MVP. I didn't really hear much about that as well, but obviously people were saying, okay, well, if the Warriors had a bad record, if KD was playing, all those things, I think he deserved it, all rightfully so. He played amazing last year.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as this year, like especially Giannis and Jokic, unless they do something totally crazy, like if Jokic can like win out of like 18 out of the next 20 games and be like top 3 in the West, there's no way that either of them are going to win it. I mean, the Bucks are not too far off from being the top of the East, but like I said, Giannis has to do God level stuff for him to do that.
Yeah, I feel like if I was for Giannis to win it, and I think I want to, from what I want to see from him that we haven't really seen him do in his career, is average 30 points per game. He's averaged 29. He's been pretty close. But I think obviously the lack of jump shot has affected his ability to push him over 30 points per game. The man averages a bunch of free throws a game. The man can't stop any shot. the man can get any shot in the paint that he gets unless you stack the box. And if you do that, then you got to worry about all the shooters that are surrounding him. But I think for Giannis's case, if he wants to get another MVP, the way the talent level is with all these other players in the league, I need to see him average more than 30 points per game. And obviously, he's not going to be a consistent 3-point shooter, but he'll have his days where he makes a few threes. But I think that's what I would want to see from Giannis. If we really want to, okay, dang, that Giannis might be the MVP of this league. If he could average 30 points per game and be top 2 in the Eastern Conference, maybe even be first place, it'd be hard to not have him in that conversation at being the best player in the league, as well as winning another MVP to be his 30th.
He's the best player. He's the best player in the league right now.
He's not the best player in the league. He's not the best player in the league right now. He's not. I know we can't say any reason why he's the best player in the league right now. He hasn't beaten any of the, I think if we're looking at who's been the best 3 players in the league for the last 5 years, it's been undoubtedly Steph Curry, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant. Those have been the best 3.
The last 3 years Curry's been?
Yes. Outside of the year that he got injured, Steph Curry has been a top 3 player in the league. You're saying that Steph Curry hasn't been a top 3 player in the league these last 5 years, Alex?
You said 3 years.
I said 5 years. And even if it is in the last 3 years, yes, he's been the best player in the league the last 3 years.
How could he be when he didn't play a whole year, one of those years?
He didn't play a whole year one of those years. Obviously, he's not going to be in the conversation. The year before that, what happened, Alex? 2019. They made the finals. The year after that, he got hurt. 32 points per game and led the league in scoring. I'd undoubtedly say, yes, he's been a top 3 player in the league the last 3 or 5 years, whatever you want to say, he has been. And then LeBron and KD right there up with him, whatever order you want to go with, those have been the best 3 players in the league. Giannis, he beat KD last year. That was a great thing. Obviously, it's tough to say if he would have beaten them if Harden was 100%, but we're even seeing right now Harden's playing pretty bad. We're not seeing the level of Harden that we can see, and no Kyrie Irving. But I'm not going to take that away from Giannis. He played amazing. He beat the Suns, who are playing like a great team, and Giannis is rightfully so a top 3 player in this league. Could go any order. He's playing at just a high level, especially considering out of all the MVP candidates, he's the best defender on this list. So not going to take away anything from Giannis. He's a great player. I can't say he's undoubtedly the best player in the league.
Top 3 players over the last 3 years is Giannis, LeBron, and KD. There's no.
You're ridiculous, Alex. You're full of yourself to say that. You're so full of yourself to say that.
So who gets kicked?
You're so full of yourself to say that. Giannis gets kicked. Giannis gets kicked. You're so full of yourself to say that Giannis is better than Steph Curry. Stop. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Considering the guy made it to the finals in 2019, he got hurt. Okay, came back and averaged 32 points per game and led the league in scoring. Stop.
And missed the playoffs.
Giannis is not better than Steph Curry. Giannis is not better than Steph
Curry. The playoffs. I'm sorry.
He made the playoffs and lost one game where he had 39 points. And they double teamed him at half court to give Draymond Green a wide open floater. He was better, Alex. He averaged 39 points. He was better.
What did he do in OT versus the Grizzlies?
You're saying what did LeBron James do against the Suns with Anthony Davis, Alex? If I'm not mistaken, they got their ass blown out by 30 points in the first quarter. He left with 5 minutes left in the game to go to the locker room.
Yeah.
How about LeBron James to be better if he was such the best player in the league these past few years?
Okay, he lost to a team that was 2 wins away from winning the NBA Finals. You lost to a team that got bounced in the first round in 5 games. I'm sorry. I think that the Suns are actually a good team.
It's a one-game play. You can't go off a one-game play.
Grizzlies.
Steph Curry averaged 40 points per game in those last 3 games to try to make the playoffs. If there's no playing game, Alex, did the Warriors make the playoffs? If there's no playing game. The 1 year they decided to do a play-in because of everything was going on with COVID.
Second year, actually.
No, it was the first year they did the play-in, actually. It was the first year.
Okay, but
but they made the playoffs. They were the 8th seed. When it mattered most, they played one game at the end of the season.
That's not when it mattered most.
Grizzlies Warriors. They played one game to see who was going to have the record to make the 8th seed. The Warriors won. Steph Curry dropped 41 on their head. That should have made the playoffs. I'm not taking away.
What?
I'm not saying Steph Curry.
What?
Yeah, they didn't make the playoffs. They did it, but we're going off of a playing style. Steph Curry.
I saw 3 rims.
Amazing. Steph Curry played amazing, and it's not Steph Curry's fault that Draymond Green is hitting all backboard on wide open floaters,
Why
and
didn't you beat
Andrew
the
Wiggins
Lakers? Why didn't you beat the
Andrew Wiggins is
Lakers?
airballing threes.
Why didn't you beat
They,
the
Steph Curry had
Lakers?
39 had a very efficient 39 points. Alex, what should Steph Curry do? Should he have 60? Should he have 60 to beat the
Hell
Lakers?
yeah!
Should he have 60?
Imagine.
I could show you a play right now at the half. They literally did not even. Alex Caruso, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James just disregarded their defensive assignments to go worry about Steph Curry and still dropped the three on their head before the half. We had a 13-point lead at the half. Steph Curry played amazing throughout that game, and then LeBron James had that lucky ass shot to win the game.
Lucky, okay.
And stop saying lucky ass shot when he said he saw 3 rims.
That's
if Steph
greatness.
Curry was saying, if he saw 3, Steph Curry saw 3 rims, is that a luck shot or is that, I threw that shit up because, and then the ball went in?
And who did he make that shot on? Who was right there in his face?
Steph Curry, you could see it in his face. Like, yeah, that was a pretty ridiculous shot to go in. Props to LeBron. He made the shot. They won the game. Props to LeBron. But that was a lucky ass shot. Stop it. That was a lucky ass shot. But no, Giannis is not better than Steph Curry. But Giannis is currently a top 3 player in this league. I have him above LeBron James. And I have Giannis, KD, and Curry as top 3 players in this league. But he is not better than Curry. Don't get that twisted.
All right, we're going to move on to one of the biggest problems in the NBA right now, the COVID protocols. It's affecting so many teams. We got like
before we moved on to the COVID protocol, I wanted to see the update that we both just got. The Los Angeles Lakers just signed Isaiah Thomas. Welcome back, IT. Finally. You think he's going to have an impact for the Lakers coming off the bench?
No, I mean, yeah, I was going to bring that up when you were crying over Curry, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, they brought him back. I mean, I definitely think he can help, but he doesn't like LeBron. He was on the Cavs that one year, and I know he doesn't like LeBron and him don't like each other.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's LeBron doesn't like each other, but when LeBron doesn't have a good squad, he just wants to trade everybody. That's the LeBron James motto.
Well, I'm sorry, 3 of his players are out for COVID. I mean, they need to have some kind of a backup because, like, yeah, Austin Reeves last night, he made the game winner, but I mean, do you really want to rely on him for 26 minutes a game? Like that's what they're forcing him with all these guys out. But yeah, Isaiah Thomas, I think he can provide some offense. But yeah, the Lakers' biggest problem is defense, and you don't want to add a 5'9" guy who is not going to be a defensive force at all. Like, I'd like to see how he does. It's a 10-day contract. Give him some opportunities, especially over like these games, the road games. But yeah, I'm not expecting much from him. If he goes off and drops 30, like, well, good for him.
Yeah, obviously he defensively that's been their biggest struggles. There's no doubt about that. But they've also been a very poor shooting team outside of Malik Monk, who was shooting very well. He is in COVID protocol. Wayne Ellington shoots well, but can we really trust Wayne Ellington? I don't think so. They don't have Trevor Ariza just yet. Kendrick Nunn isn't back from his injury, and he's a streaky 3-point shooter. So I think bringing in IT could be good. Finally, I think it's about time a team gives him a chance. It's crazy to think that a guy who averaged 29 points per game and was in the MVP conversation that year that he averaged 29 points per game could just fall flat off the face of the NBA and not get any kind of momentum or time to really prove himself. He's had a few times here and there where teams picked him up, and even then he wasn't shooting efficient, but he was averaging a good like 12 points per game. And if you could bring that off the bench to give you some extra scoring, that could be great. But yeah, I understand your concern about him bringing defense to the team. Being 5'9", they're just gonna attack him on the offensive end when he's playing defense, and that definitely could be a worry for the Lakers.
Funny, like he makes me look huge, and like, no disrespect, he would cook me 10 times out of 10 on the court. But yeah, I mean, it's just like he's just so small. Like, NBA is just so like versatile with like all the wings and everything. Like, I don't know. He was on the Pelicans last year on a 10-day, and it didn't do anything. So
they didn't even let him play.
But it's the thing is, like, you have to give him opportunities, and it's like, do you really want to sit through? You're gonna give him like 10 games of 30 minutes, like, just to see if he got it still? But yeah, I don't know.
We'll see what their plan is. Obviously, there's a reason they added him. He was playing for the G League and with the Nuggets organization. He dropped 42 points in his first G League game, and people might say it's a G League. It's a G League. When you could put up points like that and really attack and show that you're dominating the G League, you obviously deserve to get a chance to prove yourself in the NBA. see what he can do. If he doesn't do good in this time frame that he has, like, I mean, you can't just say, "Oh, we're gonna give you 5 minutes a game. If you don't do anything in 5 minutes, then we're gonna cut you." Give him a good 15, maybe 20 minutes a game. I think if you could give him like a good quarter and a half of time to really show himself, if you could give him some usage with the ball, that will really be a way to kind of grade how he is able to fare come for the future for the Lakers.
But
If
it's like
not,
if you're gonna take away minutes from someone like I was watching the Mavericks game, like Austin Reeves, he's actually playing some pretty really good defense, like on like Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, and Brunson too. He moves his feet. Like you don't expect that from like a white boy. Like it's something that you don't see all the time. But yeah, I don't want to, especially he just made the game winner. I don't want to take away minutes from him. So I mean, yeah, it's got to be like from those other guys that they have. But
I mean, it's not even taking away just minutes from him. I mean, the probably Austin Reeves will start earning some more minutes, but like we said, Malik Monk is out, Kendrick Nunn is out, Trevor Reeves is out, THT is out, Dwight Howard is out. They still don't have Kendrick Nunn. They're missing a lot of guys. So even if you don't have to take away anybody's minutes to give him some time
yeah.
and show himself. And like you said before, an undersized guard. THT is an undersized guard. He's not a very good defender, but they obviously have him going on and playing, and they're even putting him in some trade talks to possibly get better going into the future, considering that they still don't really look that great despite being fully healthy with their big three in core right now. And luckily, they're not missing any time for COVID protocol.
Somebody in one of the other fantasy leagues I was in just added Isaiah Thomas. Whatever.
That's pretty ridiculous. But speaking of COVID protocol, how obviously we've seen how much COVID protocol can impact the season. I don't expect them to cancel the season. What do you think the NBA's route right now with COVID protocol, considering that it's starting to take superstars out? Giannis is out, Harden is out, DeRozan's out, Levine's out. How big of a problem is it for the NBA? And do you think they have something that they're going to do to resolve this problem going forward?
Yeah, I mean, it is really unfortunate. I mean, all these guys are vaccinated unless they pulled an Antonio Brown. But it's like they're not going to cancel the season or postpone it. They lost I don't know how many $billion when they had to postpone it 2 years ago. And it's the 75th season, so they want to have all these like special moments, and they don't want to just have a fat postponement in the middle of the season. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, it's not affecting like a majority of the players but it's like, yeah, like when the Nets only have 8 available players, that's really like pushing it. They just need to keep going on, make sure like you can't enforce the booster shot, but I mean, it's crazy. They say the vaccine lasts 6 months, and it's been about 6 months since like April when everybody got it, and now it's getting really bad again. So it's like you got to make sure that you can keep your players safe, but you can't just enforce the shot. Like if you don't get it, you're not playing. Because then I think a lot of players would sit out, and that's just a whole nother issue. So as long as it doesn't seep into the playoffs, I don't see any reason for a postponement. But yeah, if it's the playoffs and then you have the Suns who only have 7 active players, like yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
And we're not
I
even
don't see
halfway
that.
through the season, so if it gets later, then yeah, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, I don't see that any kind of postponement or letting teams play without their best players in the playoffs. Nobody wants to watch a 7-game series of the Suns against the Warriors and Klay Thompson's out and Devin Booker and Mikal Bridges are out. Nobody's gonna, obviously outside of Steph Curry, nobody wants to see that unfair advantage for a team missing their best players. I don't expect that to happen. And like you said, I don't expect them to cancel the season. They've already been down that road where obviously there's been a lot of positive tests, but the rate of obviously people passing away from it, it's very low. It's just more of people having asymptomatic positive tests. Nobody's really getting sick from it. The NBA Association just announced that they are trying to resolve a different protocol for how they treat people testing positive. I don't know what the plan is going to be for that, but it's spreading like wildfire at this point. I mean, the Kings just announced that they shut down all facilities. All their coaches and players are starting to test positive. And even the Knicks are testing positive. And that worries me since the Warriors just played the Knicks last game. So, oh man, if Steph Curry misses COVID protocol, that's going to be pretty rough. But it's tough, and it really can mess up seeding come playoff time. But like you look at a team, if the Warriors who they're in first place currently in the West, and if they just announce Steph Curry has COVID protocol, he's going to miss 10 days. That's probably what, like 4, maybe 5 games that he misses. And if they can't manage to win, though they say they go like 1-4 in those 4-5 games because Steph Curry is the huge reason of why they're doing so well, then that's just going to put them down in the seeding, which they're proving to be that they could possibly be a number 1 seed in the West. And that's going to be a difficult for any team, whether it's the Bulls now missing all their players, but now they're postponing games. So I don't know how they're going to treat the postponed games, if they're going to make them up at a later date. Are they going to add more games to the week for the schedule?
Yeah.
Are they going to add it to the end of the season and push playoffs back again? It's tough to say what they're going to do.
Yeah, and then the last time they postponed it, it was closer to playoff time. It was like what, 12,
like 55, 60 games in.
Yeah, and then they weren't able to complete the full 82 games. So I mean, that was more of a reasonable reason why they did that, because if it went into the first round of the playoffs, they couldn't just like stop halfway through the playoffs. Like that would be unfair to the teams that were winning. But yeah, now that we're about like a third of the way through the season, that I think now is a time where they can like figure it out with these protocols. It's just that not everyone's on the same page. It's a nationwide thing, and all states have different mandates on how they
Exactly.
how they mandate the vaccine. And then obviously Kyrie and like big cities like New York and them, like they make sure that they lock down on that. But yeah, it's going to be something where they need to make sure that it gets fixed before March or before February or something like that. We still got a few months before that time.
Yeah, I mean, still little bit away from the All-Star break, so we'll see what happens then. Like we said, the NBA Association is trying to figure out a different protocol. I don't know what that means, what they mean by that. If they're gonna just start letting players play if they're asymptomatic, or
No, they wouldn't do that.
it's like, is COVID really affecting any of these guys? Is anybody really getting any kind of effect from it? I mean,
Yes.
it's obvious. No, they're not. There's not one of these
Tobias
players.
Tobias Harris was like really sick for a long time. And Tobias Harris said, he's like, every day I wake up, I still feel like I got a cold. He's tested negative, but he's like, some people it's different. Obviously, some people like would not even have one cough, and some people are just like they can't even get out of bed. So I mean, it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah, it's something tough, and it's going to be a tough talk for the NBA Association to figure this thing out and what Adam Silver will decide to do going forward. But yeah, it's obviously it's affecting a lot of teams. It's affecting players. It's affecting fantasy teams. But other than that, there's going to be a lot of struggles with it, and it sucks that more and more players each and every day are testing positive. Thankfully, so most of them are asymptomatic. Nothing really bad or happening to the players or any of the staff members or coaches, so that's good to see. But it's just gonna be pretty much a wait on what the NBA Association does. I don't like we both said, I don't expect them to cancel the season. I mean, football is almost to the end of the season. They really haven't even been having anywhere near the amount of people missing for COVID that the NBA
A
has
lot
had.
of people have it. There's a lot of people in the NFL right now.
I don't think there's a
It's
lot.
really, you'll see, look it up.
It's just more of the fact that the NFL has a lot more players, but there's not like a lot of people being affected, like the main players you need to play, like quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, and everything like that. It's
Baker
more
Mayfield has it.
Baker Mayfield is whack, but yeah, it's the NFL is gonna get through it, and they're close to their end of the season. The MLB got through it, and they didn't really have any kind of problems when they played through their whole season, and they play a very long season, so they didn't really have any effects from COVID, thankfully. So I expect the NBA to figure something out. But yeah, there's a lot of teams getting affected by it. So we'll see going forward what the plan is going to be for the NBA going forward.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough road. It's been almost 2 years, and everyone's been affected by it. A lot of people passed away, unfortunately. But I mean, it's kind of sad to say like, oh, we won our basketball. But yeah, as long as everyone's safe, thankfully no one in the NBA has passed away from it. So we're lucky for that. But I just want to see like a regular season back to normal. But that's a hard thing to ask.
It's gonna be we don't have no idea when we're gonna get just a
Hey,
normal season of no COVID protocol. Whatever.
Check your phone. Russell Westbrook has entered health and safety protocol.
Protocol. It's literally
But
dropping like flies right now. Jose Sanchez is about to have a heart attack right now after his fantasy team has to deal with this. But
end the season.
he's for sure about to say end the season. There's no doubt about that. But let's move on to a few of the games before we cut out today. Some big games for the rest of this week. Obviously, we're not going to see you guys till next Friday, but we're going to cover some games that are going to be coming up and a few of our picks, starting with the Sixers and the Nets. They play tonight, Alex. Who do you got in that game? Obviously, no James Harden, but it's still going to be a fun game to see. Who do you got?
Um, yeah, it's gonna be a good one. Sixers coming off a back-to-back. Everyone's been healthy for now. Yeah, I think the Sixers are gonna win that. Tyrese Maxey has been pretty solid, especially with Tobias Harris and Joel. Yeah, I think they should win that against the underman Nets.
Underman Nets. I think the Sixers should be able to take them out in size wise. I don't see the Nets really having enough shooting to beat the Sixers, considering the Sixers don't even really take that many 3-point shots. KD would pretty much have to have one of those really glorious games, or someone would have to step up like Patty Mills did that other night and have like 35 points for the Nets, for me to see the Nets beating the Sixers. But the way things go, anything can happen in this NBA. The Sixers can just come out and completely be bad, and the Nets somehow pull this win off. But I don't expect that. I think the Sixers should pull out a win in this game. Next one, we got a big one tomorrow night in Boston. I'm about to fly down to go see it. Only about an hour and a half away. We got the Warriors and the Celtics. Their first meeting of the season. Who do you got in tomorrow's matchup?
Jaylen Brown is out, I think. Or is he there?
I think he's back. He's back.
Yeah, I'll take the Celtics. I think that'll be a good matchup. They got Marcus Smart. I think he'll have a good matchup against Curry. Hopefully.
Last game Curry had against Marcus Smart says otherwise. 47 points in his last game, ended in a loss. So disappointing. But I got to take the Warriors. But I am, like I said, Jaylen Brown's back. The Celtics are a scary team. Jason Tatum is on a tear right now, so it's going to be tough to say who is going to hold him down. I think, obviously, but we do have very good defenders to hold up against those guys. We got Draymond and Andrew Wiggins to go up against Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, so I like those matchups. But like you said, Marcus Smart is a guy that's going to heckle Curry, another very all defensive talent, and he's going to have it's going to be a fun matchup all around. I think this is going to be a great game. I think it's going to go down to the end, but I do have Warriors going up on top for that game.
We'll see. I got Celtics.
All right, Saturday's games, that's not really many other games outside of that. Saturday's games, originally a good game that was supposed to be Cavs Bucks, but obviously no Giannis, possibly no Middleton, but it is fun to see the Cavs going up against some of these good teams, considering how great they've been playing in these past few weeks. But I guess I'd have to take Cavs if I don't expect Giannis to play. And obviously they've possibly no Middleton, so it's tough to say how that's going to turn out. Oh, another player just announced, Isaac Okoro, COVID protocol.
Jesus.
Players dropping like flies. Sunday's games, the last day we cover for the rest of this week. Another game that was supposedly great, Bulls Lakers. We're gonna miss out on a great game on that. Nuggets Nets. Obviously, we should still hopefully see Jokic and KD. Who do you got in that game?
I think the Nuggets will. No. I think KD will pull that one out. I got the Nets.
KD. I'm gonna go Nuggets in that game. I like Nuggets. I don't. Who's guarding Jokic?
Not important. Let's go. Move on.
I don't think anybody's going to guard Jokic. The Hawks have a few good games. They're playing the Nuggets and they're playing the Cavs. Hawks have been a little bit streaky this year, just sitting right at 500. I expect them to be better this year. Maybe they aren't going to be better, but we'll see going forward. But do you think that they're going to fare well against the Cavs and the Nuggets in those two matchups?
Yeah, I think the Hawks they're on a streak right now. Trae Young has been playing exceptionally well over the last few games. I think he'll pull that one out.
So I it's going to be a fun one against the Cavs and against the Nuggets. They have the matchup. They have a big Clint Capella inside. They got John Collins, who's a decent defender, could be better. Trae Young, like you said, is playing very great right now, but they haven't been consistent. I'm looking at that record, 14-14. I feel like they're too good to be this inconsistent right now, especially considering they made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. So I expect them to be a lot better. I think we can't put the blame on Trae Young. He's been playing great. John Collins has even been playing great. So I think it's going to look at to more of the supporting cast, Huerter, Capella, Collins,
Yeah.
Gallinari, Lou Will, all those guys step up and hopefully give some more help and shoot the basketball a little bit better for the Hawks to break out of their slump.
Yeah.
But that's probably the rest of the best games for this week. Alex, you have anything to add before we cut out today?
Yeah, I mean, like literally, I didn't think it was gonna get that bad with COVID. I'm just praying that they don't cancel the season. That sucks, and I hope nobody is gonna get really sick or affect anyone else. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for like what's to come these next few games. But yeah, I mean, I hope everyone stays healthy.
Yeah, hopefully everybody stays healthy. No serious problems. Like we said, there's just so many COVID protocols checking out. But we will be giving you guys updated news every Friday, talking about all the biggest news going on in the NBA. As you can see, a lot of things happening each week, whether it's COVID, whether it's big time games, whether it's huge record breaks. We're going to be covering it every Friday. Make sure you guys check that out. Go check out our Instagram and as well as our newly made TikTok. Make sure you go check that out. Ruling on the Floor on Instagram. Make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube and give us some help out. Shout out for both me and Alex. But I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you next time.
All right, guys, have a good one.